has just begun.
One hell of a life. So, a couple things. If you want to have a drink with Gary, a final drink with Gary, his Dr. Pepper stand is over here. And you're welcome to get something to add to that from the bar. I got permission for that. If you want to say something into the camera, the Tindels have a lot of family all over the country, so they're going to record a lot of this today. If you want to go say something to Gary and something in remembrance, feel free to walk up to the microphone, and it will not end up on the internet, I can guarantee you that. Rachel's done a great job getting this all set up tonight. Gary's boat's down there. Anybody who wants to take it for a drive, go ahead. The pond on 7 and 17 worked pretty well. And the meal is now being served, the bar is open, and we'll be back in a little while. So thank you for being here today.
Where were you last week?
My bad. I forgot to send it. And I took 5 pictures of it, sending them out to that's what I think. Monday. And then the next Monday's president. Thank God, yeah. You get very cute.
Yeah, come up with a good story or two. I want to. All right, thanks, man. These folks have been playing a lot of music together now for 4 or 5 months. They're pretty remarkable. And you hear Ike at St. Joe's and St. Isidore a lot, and Virgil will jam with her quite often. Ike has to work very hard. Those shoulders are getting very strong from carrying Virgil, but he's doing a very good job. But I know on behalf of the Tindel family, they appreciate everybody coming here. I've been here since 1985. I've never seen this many people at St. Isidore, not even at Christmas or Easter, and I've never seen this many people for a celebration of life. Both these rooms are full, and somebody is down there fishing out of the boat right now. I don't know if they're going to have any luck. But anyway, let me turn it over to Ike and Virgil to kick us off with a beautiful song. Take it away.
Goodbye.
royalty too, but it was nice of Gary to open the sky up and get some sunshine for the latter part of this afternoon as we celebrate his life. Hopefully hear some great stories. I had the privilege of meeting Gary when Christine and I moved to Yuba City in 1985, and that's one iconic figure that's left an indelible legacy. I don't know too many people who could get 600 or 700 people into a church on a Friday afternoon and fill this place in their honor. In fact, I don't know anybody that can do that, and Gary was that person. You talk about a human being that checked all the boxes. I think you heard Alicia do a phenomenal job. How about a round of applause for Alicia? Wow. Not an easy thing to do, Alicia. You really, your dad's smiling pretty bright right now. Gary, when you check the list of things, again, I don't know, man of faith, man of integrity. I think the reason we're all here today, and I think I shared this with Josh a few days ago, is when you were around Gary, you just felt at peace. And I think we're all looking for that in life, that kind of Zen moment. And Gary kind of exuded that in everything that he did, everyone he touched, everyone he tried to help. Again, an indelible legacy. He's a family man. I got a chance to get quoted in the paper. I think when you look around this room and you see so many of the community's stalwarts, people that made a difference here, and many people have since passed, Gary was a leader of leaders. He created some incredible dynamics that have made the Yuba Sutter community a great place to live, work, and raise families. So to be a leader of leaders is a big task, and Gary was a serious person that did the things that made us all better and made this community have a lot better leadership in so many ways. He was faithful, he was loyal. Look at the people in this room. People are here because of Gary's loyalty. He was a forgiving man. He obviously worked in law enforcement, had to deal with the tough sides of people's lives. And I've had people come up to me that he affected that were on the wrong side of the law, later in life got on the right side of the law. So he's a man of character, a man of class. He was a massive smiler. And I think that's why a lot of us are here today. And again, the sun keeps trying to break through, and I think that's just typical Gary. He was thoughtful, he was selfless, dignified, organized, had just a huge soul. And this room would be cracking up, laughing with him, because Gary's laugh was contagious. And he made you feel special when he laughed. He was a singer sometimes too. Not a very good one, right, Josh? I've sang some songs with Gary. I'm not very good either. He was obviously a Dr. Pepper drinker, and wanted to make sure that was there tonight. And again, if you're at the bar tonight and you need a mixer, or if you don't, grab some Dr. Pepper there. Gary's work ethic, second to none. Biggest thing before this became a term that is used all over social media these days, Gary was one of the first real influencers when I moved here. He influenced so many good things in this community. Not only in the church community as a Catholic, but more so in the entire community. Incredible influencer. Whether he's cooking thousands of meals for people in need or for charitable causes. Yeah, he ate a few of those too, I know. Mr. Tri-Tip, right, Dale Hall? Yeah.
Right.
He was educated, he was an engineer, he was a great planner. Alicia touched on it at St. Isidore today. He was an entrepreneur. He made a lot of money for Yuba County at a time when Yuba County needed a lot of money. Made a big difference. I don't know if Mike Johnson's still here. Is Mike still here? Donna, they were here earlier. So Mike and Gary and God bless Jim Watson, Ray Moscoci. Ramo was at Mass today. They started Italian Night. We started it in 1987, Dale Hall, and raised a lot of money for flood relief. We started in 87. That money, we raised a ton of it. Really helped people in 97 because the Kiwanis Club really got after it in 86 but didn't have a lot of money. That was the genesis of that 35 plus year Italian night event. And that was a very entrepreneurial move by Gary. I love Alicia's story today. You got the cards on the table. They'd like you to write messages to the family, any memories of Gary. Sign them so they can read them later. And Gary was a master networker, okay? And this is long before these electronic devices we all carry. And I can still remember having lunch with Gary at the Silver Dollar and him pulling out a business card, writing a note to the waitress and handing it to him. And that had to be 85, 86. John Nicoletti's family owned it at the time. And I go, Gary, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I do that everywhere I go. I go, you write that to every waiter, waitress that you see? He goes, oh yeah, because I'm going to run across them, their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle, and I want them to remember me if they need me or I need them. Okay. So to this day, my wife and daughter will attest, every time I'm in a restaurant, no matter where it is, I don't pull out a card because I'm sort of retired now, but I always write on the receipt because they always have to take the receipt with them. So I do the same thing Gary did, write a nice thank you note, and it gets you some free drinks too. Kelly, you might need that. Yeah. So yeah, again, a master networker before networking was really in vogue. Old school. Gary was a starter and a finisher, as we all know. I know he took a little route there from UC Davis to Chico, but that's not a bad route. All good. I heard some of those stories. And if you look out the window there, Gary was a fisherman, a pretty good one. And he would fish with anybody, anytime, anywhere. Josh was his best fishing buddy. And the stories about Gary's fishing trips are phenomenal. My first invite to fish with Gary, I missed. I couldn't go. It was at Huckett's place on the river. And that day, when Gary put the 2 boats in the water, 2 boats went down. And I was happily at home at that time. But the stories, I don't know if you ever got all the radios back, but the boats went down. So we had some good times fishing after that, but I'm glad I missed that first trip. Gary was a card player. I don't know who he owes some money to here, but we'll have to talk to Josh and Irene afterward. See about that.
He didn't lose.
No, he didn't. Gary could play those cards right here. No question. He was a scoutmaster. And obviously, when you look at Josh and what he's accomplished and what he did in scouting, and what Gary, how he affected so many youngsters in his community and so many leaders of scouts, phenomenal. Just says more and more about the man. And unlike my son-in-law over here, I don't know what he's thinking, but Gary was a 49er fan, not a Chiefs fan. And he was a huge 49er fan. And a lot of good times, 49ers with Gary. He was a huge Kings fan. And one of the first times Gary got to mingle with some Kings players, and I've introduced him to a few over the years, we had a lot of fun. I think one of the first ones, he was on my TV show at the time, Take 5. And he always told this story, no matter where we were, he'd bring that story up 25, 30 years later, it didn't matter. And we met Spud Webb, and Gary's like this, and Spud's like this. Stand up. He's not even that tall. Spud wasn't even that tall. Spud played in the NBA, as you all know, for the Kings. He also played for Len. He played in 5 of my All-Star games down at Arco Arena. Just a really nice guy. We still communicate a lot today. In fact, I shared this story with him yesterday via text. He started laughing. He remembered it. So they met on the set, had him up for promotion of some kind. We were talking on TV, and Gary met him on the set. And then a few days later, they went to the basketball game where Spud's playing for the Kings, and there was a timeout. And coming out of the timeout, and Spud ran over to Gary and put his hands behind his back, thinking Gary said, "Cuff me, right here." Yeah. So Gary could connect with anybody, even somebody that short who ran around the basketball court. So. Yeah, that was a great story. I will never forget that. Hang on, let me get my notes going here. I got a few more things. Gary was a boat captain. He was a teacher. He was a coach. He was a father, a husband, a grandfather, papa, a brother. And he did all those things to the best of his ability at all times. Full consciousness, never left anybody hanging, was always there for family and friends and others in need. Just one unbelievable person. And you all know that, and that's why you're all here and jammed in here. A couple of my final thoughts before I ask people to come up and share their Gary stories. And Waffle, the Chico stories, you got to be really careful, are you? Okay. Again, this standing room only crowd is a testament to Gary. You know, he's going to be waiting for us at the gate up there. He's going to be inside it. Some of us are going to struggle to get through that gate. And I know he'll have a fishing pole there trying to reel us in. But he'll be there waiting for us, no question. And he's leading today without even being here, as you can see by this crowd. And I'll leave you with this thought, because this is, you know, with all the garbage on TV these days, all the quote-unquote reality shows, life was a lot simpler when people like Gary were around and leading this country. I can remember in the 1960s watching the Andy Griffith Show. And if they would have typecast Andy Taylor of Mayberry, it would have been Gary Tindel. And that says everything there is to say about Gary Tindel. So those are my thoughts to kick this off. And anyone that wants to come up and say a few words, please, the microphone is yours. And we'll have another little presentation for Gary's family here in a little bit as well. So who would like to come up and say a few words, tell a few stories?
What about me? My name's Diane Juvon, and known Gary for many years, and he gave me the greatest gift. He gave me my law enforcement family. 33 years ago, I knew Gary before, and he came and asked me to apply for a job that was open at the department. And so I thought about it, and I said, yeah, you know, I'm ready. I had my degree already, and so I applied for the evidence tech position. And so Gary wanted me to give me a couple tips about getting through the interview. And he said, they're going to be showing you some pictures of some dead bodies. And some of them are pretty graphic. So I just want you to remember, while you're sitting in front of the interview panel, just blur your eyes a little bit. And everything will kind of run together. And so I thought, well, I'll try it. And it worked. And I got the job. And so Gary told me that at some point he was going to be calling on me to come and take pictures at an autopsy. And I thought, oh my gosh, I told my husband, I said, I don't know if I can do that or not, you know. But I thought, well, maybe he'll forget. Well, you know Gary, he didn't forget. So one day I'm down in my office and he calls and says, we're going to an autopsy in a couple hours, so I'm going to be calling you. And get your camera ready and everything. So I had to do a camera and everything. I'm just shaking like a leaf. And we drive over to Lincoln Sullivan in that great big car that you guys know about. And we get over there, and I have my camera, and I walk in, and I look over at the gurney, and I just kind of lost it. And Gary looked at me like, you're not going to faint, are you? And he took the camera away from me. He said, you know, he said, I think I'm going to need some slide film. So he said, why don't you go back to the department and get some slide film? And he's handing me his keys. Well, you know his size, and you probably know the car. The driver's seat is back in the back seat. And so I'm like hanging on the edge of the seat, trying to reach the pedals and still looking over the steering wheel. Had to drive down to the garage and then drive back out, but I made it. But I want to tell you one more thing about how Gary loved and was concerned about his law enforcement family. In the '97 flood, the one thing that he was concerned about, other than obviously the community, was we got to make sure we have food for everybody and we don't have any rubber boots. And somehow, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to get, I believe it was to Roseville, and came back with a truckload of boots and all the food that we could ever want to eat, and filled up the briefing room, and everybody was taken care of until the Conservation Corps got there. But I will miss him forever, and he will always be in my heart. Thank you.
Well done. Who's next? Come on, there's some great stories on Gary out there. Who wants to come up? Here we go.
So to me and to a bunch of others out there, he was Uncle Gary. You got somebody. One of the best things about Uncle Gary was Uncle Gary hugs. Big hug with a big smile. You barely get your arms around him if you could even do that. Love it. I got a lot of good stories about Uncle Gary. One of my favorites was at my wedding. It was chow time. And he walked back across in front of the wedding table. And I get an elbow to the side, and it was my wife. She goes, look. And here comes Uncle Gary with a big plate of food. Looked like a volcano with gravy over the top. And he saw Jenny elbowing me. And he looked up with just this big Uncle Gary grin and gave me a big wink, laughed a little bit, and walked off. And anyway, it was just one of my favorite wedding memories. I got good fishing memories with Uncle Gary. And we're all going to miss him a lot.
Well done. Okay, who's next? Come on, there's some great Gary stories out there. Come on up, let's go.
So, one of my favorite memories, I know, when me, Addison, Emily, and Leo were in the car about to drive to Tahoe, and he came out as when he was gonna say goodbye, and his pants fell down. so he was in his tidy whities. And then he had to pull him back up and barely bent down, so he was trying to get him back up. And then one time my dad was picking me up, and he came out and he wanted to talk to my dad about fishing or something, I don't really know. So he came out and he refused to put pants on. So he just came out in his underwear and was talking to my dad. And Grandma was like, "Hun, go put pants on." And he was like, "No!" So we just kept wanting to talk to my dad. And my dad was just like, okay. So yeah, that was probably my favorite memory from him.
Sounds like you're going to re-release the Andy Griffith Show. Okay, John, you want to come up and say anything? Come on, John. No pictures, John.
No worries. Gary used to line up a lunch about once a month for people that we went to high school with. And I said about 2 weeks ago, Gary, remember you used to cheat me at cards? And he just laughed. I said, you owe me about 20 bucks. Now, if you do 50 years worth of interest, you owe me a lunch. Gary, will you buy my lunch? He just laughed. You know the answer.
Well done. Anybody else want to come up? Sunshine. Okay. Josh, you going to tell a few?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to tell a few.
Okay. How about a big round of applause for Josh Tindel? Here we go.
It's good to see everybody today. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, but if you look around, everyone just look around, turn around, look around. Everybody's smiling. Now, part of this because of Amelia just dropping bombs on me. Bad, which was great, by the way. And that's probably wasn't the first time that Tim or like that in high school we were buddies. Anyways, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming on today. It's Friday, right? So there's things to be done, and we could all be somewhere else. But you're here, celebrating with us. And on behalf of my family and all of my family, the kids, my mom, my sisters, John, who has been, can I just get a round of applause for John Cassidy? All this was unexpected, you guys, which we know, and so many of you have stepped up, so many, instantly, phone calls, text messages, emails, to all of us. And John, you were one of those individuals who reached out immediately, and we're forever grateful for what your help over the last week has been. To the kids, you guys did an amazing job today. All of you kids did. Church, thank you. Stories, Amelia. Dan, thanks for your two. There's a lot of good stories with Dan and Dad over the years. Some of them are on bonfires. Good stories. But anyways, you guys.
Let that one out.
Yeah. He loved everybody in this room a lot. He gave a lot of people in this room their first job, their first opportunity to work.
I took that.
What's that?
Oh, I was just telling you that I took that.
He got some of you connected to each other, helped the marriages, which helped children, and this is the legacy that I think we're here to dedicate today to my dad, my mom's husband, and to our kid's papa. So when you go out in your world and you're doing whatever you're doing and living the best life you could possibly live, smile, give hugs, okay? And his favorite saying, we had many of them, pull my finger, that was one. quite a bit. But our most faithful, any other sayings? I mean, oh gosh. Okay, before I gotta laugh, because usually I break it down, and I got friends in the back that sing me cry a lot. I got my family that sing me cry a lot. I'm not gonna do it anymore. We cried out. So over the years, I remember Dad would come in, he'd be mad about something or mad at something. He's like, oh, I'm mad at us. He'd be listening to a story, he'd be like, oh, Shell, Alicia, just go tell him to piss up a road. I'm like, all right. So that was something that has been talked about quite a bit. There's another one, we got kids in the room, and I'm going to give the Reader's Digest version, but maybe the abbreviated version, but when he got really upset, he never cussed. I heard my dad cuss one time until we were on the boat years later. He dropped this, we were on Mystic Road, and they were changing out a dishwasher. And it dropped on his finger. And I was kind of watching, and I was like, oh, F. And I sat there for a second, and Mom looked over, Mom saw it, she was like, oh, it's fine. And it wasn't even that hurt. I was with him when he literally dropped a barbecue on his finger that took the tip of his finger off. And he didn't say anything, except come over and go get your mom. I think I lost my finger. That's it. We went in the room, and so he's very tough, very tough. But when he really got upset with someone, or with usually myself, Shell and Alicia. Usually it was Shell and Alicia. Not me. He'd come over, he'd be like, kids, quit horse being around. But he didn't say being. And that was just one of those things that he always said, and it was really funny to us because we cried about it a lot this past week. So anyways, we appreciate you guys being here, family, friends, everyone across the board. And I'll leave you with this. His favorite saying was, life is good. Because life is good. Right? Be grateful for what you have. And give lots of hugs. Thank you.
How about a big round of applause for Josh, Michelle, and Alicia, come up here real quick. I need to, two of Gary's best friends were Kelly Purdom and Al Perry from Kiwanis Italian Night Days. Those guys killed it. Al, would you come up here? Al's going to make a little presentation to y'all. We're not going to let Al speak too long for a lot of reasons. Al's free. By the way, anybody needs a clock operator for a girls' basketball game, call Al and ask me about that later. So, Al, why don't you slide over here, sir? And there's your items. I'm going to hand you the mic here.
Can you hear me? People in Center can probably hear me. In any event, actually, Cassidy comes to me because the United States Congressman is caught in traffic. And, you know, it's really an honor for me. It's really an honor for me to give these, first of all, the certificate. First is a flag of the United States, because the United States Congressman wanted his family to get this award in recognition of all the work he did for the community and for jabronis like me. Okay.
We love you, Ralph.
Yes. That's another thing. Irene told me the other night that Gary loved me. Josh said the same thing, talking with him. And you know why? Because they got all my money from playing Tindel. It's true. It's not it. My wife's going to have to go back to work. Anyway. This, hold that, John. Everybody can hear me, I'm sure. This is a certificate, a resolution from the United States Congress for Gary's family in recognition of all the work that he did for his community. And so, Irene, from the office of Doug LaMalta, the United States Congressman, thank you. Thank you very much.
I want to give it back to Al here. Hang on one second, Al. Jeff, you got it? We're going to try to show, this was actually read on the floor of Congress this week, so Doug got this in there. He's stuck in the airport, actually, and the flag was actually flown over the U.S. Capitol, so very special. Everything takes a long time with government, as you all know. So.
It's fitting that Al Perry gave us this award today, or presented the award. And I told Al this story last night. There's a reason why, one, Gary kept most of a lot of his money playing cards and he gave this today, because years ago when Dad and Mom were on a trip, I wanted to go fishing. And I called Al, I'm like, Al, let's go fishing. He's like, oh, my boat's messed up. Something wrong with my boat. I'm like, all right. He's like, why don't you take your dad's boat? I said, his dad's not here. He's like, it'll be all right. So I called up my partner in crime, Jeff Finch, and I'm like, let's go fishing, dude. Dad just got, maybe a year old, his brand new old blue pickup truck. This is a long time ago. Hop in that bad boy, back it up. I've loaded it 1,000 times. Run over to Al's, pick him up. We're flying down Highway 20. We almost get to Drexel Road, and all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose. Lights are going off. Truck's shaking. I look back. There's fluid all over the front of the boat. And I pull over, and I'm like, oh, I'm dead. What did I do? So I quickly pulled down Drexel Road, went into my grandma's house. Uncle Jim, I don't think he's here right now, he goes, "Oh, dude, I think you blew the Torben murder." I'm like, "What's a Torben murder?" He goes, "You'll be fine. Here's 2 quarts of transmission fluid. He goes, "Are you gonna go fishing?" I'm like, "Well, we're already out here." So I loaded it up, we went out to Meridian, fished our brains out, caught a ton of fish that day. Jeff, ton of fish. Hit the prop a couple times, wow, whatever. Get back in the truck, load it back up, come home, drop them off. Now I'm sitting in the driveway, thinking about what's gonna happen to me when Dad gets home and figures out what I did. I'm still here, and he wasn't very happy. But I'll thank you for allowing me to do that and to be in the biggest, deepest hole I've ever been in.
That story gets better every time I hear it. Josh should be a science fiction writer. I had a lot to say after John said, "Well, Al, would you like to please, just say a few words?" And I said, "Yeah, John, I can do that." Well, he got up here and talked for a half hour and talked about everything I was going to talk about. And then Josh was telling stories about fishing, and I'm not sure who was the worst fisherman, he or his dad. Actually, I met Gary when I joined Kiwanis, I think. I don't know, it was 83, 84, somewhere in there. How old were you then, Josh? About 10 or 12?
Not even.
Not even, huh? So that's how long I've known you. And you've gotten really good at telling stories. Not quite up to your father's level yet, but you're doing really well. Keeping on the family tradition. Yeah. In any event, Gary and I became pretty good friends over the years. We fished a lot together, and there is one story that sticks out in my mind about our fishing trips. He was living in Petaluma, I think, at the time, and he had this really nice boat. And we were fishing up around China Camp, up the north end of the bay, and we were only fishing in 5 or 6 feet of water with that. And myself and Gary and a very dear friend, Johnny Lawrence. Now you have to understand that between Johnny and Gary together, those guys weighed about 700. They were big men. They were big men. And I was with them, right? And we had 4 poles out. And I said, Gary, there's only 3 of us. We can only have 3. It's okay, don't worry about it. I said, okay. So we went ahead and we caught something like 32 stripers that day. And one time, we had 2 hookups with 4 fish on them, okay? Somebody's got to drive the boat, okay? And what happened is both those guys ended up on the same side of the boat. So we're like this. And I'm begging those guys, hey, cut it off, get over there. You got to even this thing out, In any event, maybe it was a lot funnier then. I don't know. It was certainly something I'll never forget as long as I live. There are a lot of other fishing stories, and when Josh said that his father didn't swear a lot, well, actually, Actually, he really didn't, because I took care of that. They say that opposites attract. I mean, I wasn't exactly opposite of Gary, because he was such a fine man. I'd like to think that I was a little bit. Yeah, right. And so, anyway, Josh, every time we went fishing and Josh was with us, I felt sorry for Josh. It didn't matter. If something went wrong, Josh was getting it. And, it's probably where he learned how to swear. When he was but he really was. He was a super guy. And I just want to say that what I really think of him, well, I've run out of BS stories, so I'll tell you a true story. I was at Gary's 60th birthday, and his wife, Irene, said, after we all ate, she stood up behind me, and she said, Gary, I love you. You are a good man. And you were so right.
Thank you, Al. Awesome. You know, you have anything else to say? We're going to do one more song and kind of wrap it. Anybody want to say anything? Come on up.
I have something serious to say first. Oh, it's kind of funny, but serious. Way back when, I don't know how old I was, probably in my 30s or younger. My two kids were really young. Gary and Irene, we're all lifelong Catholics, and probably most of you know that. And, you know, I felt like my faith has always been really good. Like Gary and Irene took our faith journey to a different level. And I went to I think it was a Bible study. And I was going with you and Gary. I met you there. And we did a lot of scripture studies, a lot of sharing. And this is kind of funny. Gary said, it was after that, he said, you know, Annie, and he came to me and said this, I really didn't, I wasn't so sure about you. I didn't really know you that well. But now, I feel really different. It's great. He said, I wasn't sure about you. I don't know what was going on with me. Gary and Irene helped solidify my faith. They were both there for me in a lot of difficult times. But Gary and Irene have been there for all of us. Gary is a great role model, a great example, always took time. As any of you would know, if you were going to have a conversation with him, he gave you his full attention and would talk as long as you wanted. But he was so sincere. And my daughter Diana said, on the way over here, you know, Uncle Gary and Aunt Irene were always there at every event for all of our kids. Always. And we love Gary. I know it's on behalf of all of us. All of our extended Chesini family. We love Gary, and we're going to miss him. But we have, I know I'm embarrassed. I mean, I've always said, Irene's the best of us. And she gets that when I say that, that's true. And she knew, she picked a beautiful life partner. And he was a blessing, he's been a blessing in all of our lives. As all of my two beautiful nieces, my nephew are. We love him. We love him still.
Wow, you are good. Before we wrap up, any last thoughts, wild pictures, blackmail, anything you got? Anybody?
Would you think
Irene wants to thank a special group of people.
I want to thank all of you for being here. It's just overwhelming. The support we've had this week, the messages, everything. It's been overwhelming love and support for our family and all of the nice things that everybody said about Gary. You know, he really was a good man. He was my life partner. And we've had, but I just want to mention the law enforcement community because they were amazing. They were amazing. They came to the house, they were kind, they were compassionate, they were respectful, and they were very professional. And this whole week, we've had so much support from people in the law enforcement community, particularly Nick Morsinski and Nate, and they've been, you know, helping us. And so I really want to thank them. And you know, these days, law enforcement doesn't get a lot of respect. They should, because they're amazing.
Tree, Rachel, and Jack, they did a great job. The video that we didn't quite get to hook up because there's a little technical difficulty, but if you want to see that, get a hold of Josh, we'll text it to you.
I hear this cry. I watch them grow. They learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today to adjourn in memory of Sheriff Gary Tindel, who passed away on February 2nd, 2023 at the age of 75. Gary was a husband, a father, a public servant, and a man of great faith. He was born in Marysville, California, to Marvin and Antoinette Tindel. He grew up in Linda with his sister Carolyn and younger brother John. He graduated from Marysville High School in 1965 and went on to attend UC Davis and then graduated from CSU Chico with an engineering degree. But in 1971, Gary would find his true passion in law enforcement when he was hired by the Yuba County Sheriff's Department to work at its jail while completing the Butte College Police Academy. He progressed in his career working undercover in the narcotics unit for the Yuba County Sheriff's Department. In 1973, he met the love of his life, Irene. They were married 2 years later. Together they have 3 wonderful children, Josh, Michelle, and Alicia. As Gary continued to move through the ranks of law enforcement, he earned his master's degree in criminal justice from CSU Sacramento in 1980. In 1990, he was elected as the sheriff of Yuba County, where he served 2 terms with great distinction and was active in the California State Sheriff's Association. After serving 2 terms, Gary went on and became the assistant coroner of Marin County for 10 years. During that time, he spent 4 years as the president of the California State Coroners Association. When he retired in 2010, he and Irene moved back to Yuba City. Gary was known to be a present and loving husband, father, and community leader. He was a coach and mentor to many. Gary's faith was extremely important to him and was a driving force to the type of servant leader that he was. Gary was always a force for good and a mentor to many in the law enforcement arena. He was a dedicated member of the Marysville Kiwanis, and over many years, he spent countless hours cooking meals for anyone in need. He loved fishing as one of his great passions, and swimming as soon as the weather would allow. He was known for his incredible memory and was a huge sports fan, always cheering on his favorite team, the San Francisco 49ers, and taking his kids to countless sporting events. Gary is survived by his wife, Irene, his son, Josh, daughter, Michelle, daughter, Alicia, grandchildren, and his sister, Carolyn. Gary will be remembered for his loving spirit and dedication to everyone he met. He will be dearly missed by our Yuba Sutter community and all who had the pleasure of knowing him. Today I ask members that we adjourn in the memory of Sheriff Gary Tindel.